Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a fun little video for the end of the year, and that is 5 books that I think that you should read before the end of the year. Some of these are mostly romance, there's some that are thriller and some that are more just like a YA adventure type book. So I cannot wait to get into today's video, and so let's get started. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the 2 YA books that I have, and the first one I haven't completely finished, but I still really love it so far, and I really think it's gonna be one of my favorite books throughout the whole entire year, if I'm being honest. I just love the vibe and the kind of eeriness that it brings and the adventure, and you kind of goes through the whole motions, and I really love that in a book. And there's so much conflict and resolution and all kinds of stuff, and I just feel like the writing is very well written, and I have just been absolutely loving it. And that is Small Favors by Erin Craig. I have talked about this a lot, and that is because it's just so good. Like, I cannot stop thinking about it when I'm not reading or when I'm reading another book. The vibe of it is just top tier, and I love it. This one is about a young woman who lives with her family on like this secluded community that they kind of built up throughout like the generations and stuff like that, and they believe that there's these monsters in the forest. You don't know what kind of creatures or things live out there, but you hear of death and all kinds of stuff happening within these forests. At this time, they go through all kinds of seasons, and they have to have certain things for that season, and there's a lot of tragedy that happens. There's a conflict with one of the seasons coming around, and if they're gonna have food or whatnot. It's just a lot of that sort of thing. It kind of reminds me of a few of like some dark Netflix movies, and for that, like, I just get so like eerie with these types of books. And even on the front it says unique, enchanting, and haunting, and honestly those are like the best descriptions of this book, and I cannot rave about it more and talk about it more, so definitely pick this up before the end of the year. Now, the second book that I am going to recommend that is also YA is something that is super popular, and I'm pretty sure everyone probably has heard of this one, but it is The Inheritance Games. I will be honest, I absolutely loved this book so much, and there was so many things happening that I wanted to read all of the other books, but after the second book I wasn't fully engaged with it like I was this one. But this book and the concept, I absolutely love it. It is about a young girl who gets a notification that her, not like on her phone or anything, but she gets called in at school to her principal's office to let her know that she inherited all this money from some random stranger. But is he really random? So you kind of just go through the whole entire motion of that and all the secrets and everything that lie ahead, and I absolutely craved it. All the drama, all the clues, everything. It was just so fun to read. Now, the next few that I have are romance books. They're like my favorite romance books ever. I think about these books all the time. Like, if you were to ask me what are your favorite romance books, these are like forever my top 3 books. So the first one is by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It is also one of my first books of hers, and I plan to read like all of her books next year because I absolutely loved this one book, and that was One True Loves. This one is about a woman who got married really young. Unfortunately, her husband passed away in a plane crash, so she kind of like moves on, finds love again, and I think she marries the guy, or is just like with him or engaged to be married. Years later, they get a call that this guy is actually back, the old husband, and that he didn't die after all. And so you kind of go through the motions of what she's thinking, what she wants to do. Are they gonna rekindle, or is she gonna stay with the guy that she's with currently? And honestly, like, it was so well written, and I absolutely loved how she portrayed the struggles and all of that within the book. I believe, let me see, I believe it was dual point of view, or it was past moments versus her oh no, okay, so this just said after, so it was like before, after that sort of situation. And I just loved how it was written, like you understood how the relationship was before and now, and her current relationship, all within like such a small period, but you were so like into what was going on. And I loved this book. I think it was kind of like important, especially at the end, of what she decided to do, and I loved it. So for that reason, this one for sure should be on your list of your next read. Then one of them was, well, the last two are books that I feel like haven't really made an appearance on a whole TikTok, or on Book Talk or YouTube or anything like that. Like, I haven't really seen a whole lot of people rave about these books, more so even mention that they're reading them. And I love these books like so much, and I feel like those are like the books that I actually like love a little bit more, because they're kind of like my own, if that makes sense. Like, I love them so much. And so the first one is How to Fake It in Hollywood. This one was one where I literally stayed up till like 2 a.m. to read, and I could not put it down. I really didn't think I was going to enjoy this book at all. I ended up loving it. I think I was like in my romance rut, and so I was like, I cannot pick up another one, and I don't know why I didn't pick it up sooner. Like, that's how much I really enjoyed it. It's about a woman who is trying to break into the acting famous type industry, and he's been an actor like his whole life. He's been kind of going downhill. He became an alcoholic. He is trying to kind of recreate a name for himself, and so both of their agencies, or her agency, decided to work with him, and so now they have to fake a relationship in Hollywood. And I really didn't know how they were gonna play it out, how that was actually gonna work, or what was gonna happen, but I loved it so much. It was definitely a close proximity type book, and obviously fake dating. So I loved it. I didn't think I would love those two things, but I absolutely did, and I love them both. So I would highly recommend. I think I gave this one 4 stars. So if that entices you to read it, then I hope it does. Then the next one, and my final book that you guys should read, is by Abby Jimenez, and it's Part of Your World. I kind of don't want to tell you this, and I've seen like some people start to talk about it and actually really love this book, but at the time when I read it, nobody was talking about it, and I don't know why, because this book, like, for me, if I were to describe it, is like cozy, homey, and like just fun, and like you're just rooting for the both of them. Small town vibes. Like, whenever you read it, it's like a comfort book. Like, it's the comfort book of all time. Like, that's how I feel about it. It is so good. I think it's like, I don't know, 400 something pages, but reading it was so fast. Like, you don't even realize it's that long, and it's just so good. And it's about a doctor, and she has a family that thinks that you should marry also into either the doctor industry or someone else that makes a ton of money and like has a name for themselves, and that you should be doing all kinds of things and stuff like that, and kind of doesn't want to ruin their last name or anything of that sort. And so she is kind of like on the opposite, kind of wants to do her own thing, and he is a small town like grocery store person or something like that. oh, he's a carpenter in the small town. And she goes there for like, I think to stop by on her commute to like some work event and stuff, and ends up in this small town. And they end up meeting, and so you kind of go through the motions of how they meet, and their love just kind of unfolds from there. And the ending, absolutely loved. It was just like the perfect way to end a book, because there's a lot of conflict within the book and you don't really know how she's going to resolve the issue. And so honestly, I just think this one had the best outcome, to where like at the end, like you just feel so like happy and like relieved, and there's just so much like love. And so I loved it. I definitely recommend. This was like one of my 5-star reads for this year. And so with that, those are the 5 books that I would recommend to you. If you guys end up reading one of these, please let me know. I love to hear what you guys think of the books that I recommend. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you guys somewhere else. Bye.